What's up, friends? Today we're going to do a comparison between the Nemo Dagger 2-person and the Nemo Dragonfly 2-person backpacking tents. Stay tuned. So today we're going to do a comparison between two of Nemo's most popular lightweight backpacking tents. A couple of years ago I bought the Dagger 2-person backpacking tent. Around the same time, my buddy Scuba Steve bought the Dragonfly 2-person backpacking tent. And you can see that they're very comparable. This Dagger is just a touch bigger, but not by much. The Dagger has a new version on Nemo's site with a new material. The packaging is a little bit different, but I imagine the specs of the tent are very similar. The Dragonfly is still available in this configuration, and then there's some new versions of it coming out as well. And you can get these tents in different person configurations, but both Scuba Steve and I both got the 2-person versions of these. So what I wanted to do today was to set them up and to see what it looked like in terms of like setup time, and see how these two compare if you're shopping for a Nemo backpacking tent. One of my favorite features of Nemo's tents is this divvy sack, this ability to break up the tent into a couple of pieces. So if you've got a 2-person tent here, you can split it apart. You can pull the tent poles out, you can pull the stakes out and the rainfly and package that together, and then you can keep the body of the tent itself separate and package it together. And then you can split the load between the two people that are going to use the tent so nobody gets stuck carrying the whole thing. And it's a really great feature that I have used a few times when my wife and I both have gone backpacking and used this specifically on one of our videos where we were hiking the Kalalau Trail in Kauai. And I'll stick a link to that video down below. All right, so let's take these two tents and let's set them up, and I will run a timer to see how long it takes to set up each tent. That took me 7 minutes and 30 seconds to set it up in a very unhurried pace. It's probably the 5th time I've set this thing up, 5th or 6th time. Again, I wasn't in any sort of race, but I'm very familiar with the tent. The setup goes really easy because of a few key features, and I want to highlight some of those for you here. Okay, so first, like most good tent manufacturers, their tabs are color coded. So Nemo gives you this one where everything is gray, and all the other ones are this bright green, so you know how to line things up that way. The other neat thing that makes Nemo so fast is this little setup they have down here. The rainfly clips right in to the tent. So there's that little bar, and then the rainfly has this little hook. And it literally, and I'm doing this all one-handed so I can hold the camera here, and it just clips right in. The tent pole itself has a round end, and it just clips right into this as well. And then the tent itself clips right to the ground sheet. One thing I do want to show is the stakes. Now Nemo brings what I believe to be some of the best stakes to the market out of the box right there. They're these 3-sided stakes. They go in there really easy. They're very strong. They've got this reflective cord on the end so you can see them. It's got a little hook so you can just attach it in, slide it down to where the hook bites in, get your angle and pull the whole thing tight. May not be the most robust, but again, I've used this tent several times and not had any issues. On the sides, there is a guy point to pull this out. So it gives you a little ventilation, it keeps it offside. I've been in the rain and not had this really soak through before, but it certainly could. And there's been some reviews online talking about how the water gets in through here. And you could pull this out, but Nemo does not include enough stakes to tie it. It does give you some cordage so that you could tie it out to a tree or a rock or a log or something. So here's the tent. This is the Dagger 2-person backpacking tent with the rainfly on, and again it was a 7-minute 30-second setup. And now we're going to set up this guy. This is the Nemo Dragonfly 2-person backpacking tent. Okay, I've got to say that I'm surprised. It took me only 1 minute longer, actually a little bit less. It was 8 minutes and 24 seconds to set up the Dragonfly 2-person versus 7 minutes and 30 seconds setting up the Dagger 2-person. And again, I've set up the Dagger multiple times, 5 or 6 times at least. And this is my first time ever opening and setting up the Dragonfly. Another thing is when I put my Dagger back in the bag, I typically keep the ground sheet attached to it so I can just lay it right down. And this ground sheet was not attached to his, so I had to lay it out separately, and it still was almost just as fast. And so as you look at them side by side, you see they're pretty close in size. The Dagger's got a little more headroom all the way around. This Dragonfly slopes down on this one side. I showed you the clip points where everything comes together on the Dagger, excuse me, but on the Dragonfly it's a little bit different. It's a more traditional 2 grommet thing where the ground sheet is here and the actual tent body is here, and then the tent pole comes through and just sticks them both together. Comes with the same really great tent stake design, and then the Rainfly just goes in with a quick release, quick clip here. So that setup, even though it wasn't as maybe thoughtfully engineered as the one that's on the Dagger, this was honestly really fast and very intuitive. Another difference is on the vestibule. On the Dagger, it comes with 2 stakes to hold each door side shut, but on the Dragonfly, it just comes with 2. It's got this cordage with the reflector strip in it, hooks to here, but this one drops down. On the Dagger, you've got 2 anchor points, and this is a little bit thicker. So some of the weight savings are going to come in through here. On the Dagger, we talked about it having that one corner that was color coded. On the Dragonfly, on both corners, it's color coded. It looks like there's a little more coverage on the fly on this side of the Dagger, and it comes up a little bit higher here on the Dragonfly. It does have this guy out point, so you could pull it out separately. And the Dragonfly does come with some extra stakes because I imagine that's a little more of a need there in this situation. So if we compare the size of the two, again, very comparable. There's a few features that are not in the Dragonfly that are in the Dagger. And again, that's probably where some of the weight savings come in from that. What I'm going to do next is I want to take the tarps off of both of them so you can see what the actual space inside the tent looked like. So first, let's check out this Dragonfly. It's a little bit lower on this side, and then it ramps up. It's got the same cross beam that holds the tent wide. Wouldn't be necessary to set up, but it's in there and it keeps it a little bit of space. You've got some good headroom, but it's flat across the top. Tent poles arch over, and this I would assume would be the head side, so that you got a little more room to sit up here, and then your feet sort of go down into this extra space. This is what the inside of the tent looks like from the back window. So yeah, it's a 2-person tent, but because of this headroom shape, you'd have to have both people's heads on this side and both people's feet on that side. And if you get 2 people with wide shoulders, that's gonna get tight in there. So yeah, it's a 2-person tent if both people are pretty small and you don't mind sleeping head to head. Then we'll go over to the Dagger 2-person here. It's even on both sides, so both sides drop down from the center a bit, but both sides are the same. So the max headroom is right here in the middle, and with the crossbar connected to the main ridge pole, then you've got even headroom on both sides. So that's a little bit taller than that. That drops down, and then that goes up a little bit higher. Again, it's 2-person, so at its widest point, it looks to be about the same as the Dragonfly, but here, if we look in both sides, if we look in this side, both people could lay with one with an opposite orientation. So one person could have their head on one side, one person could have their head on the other side. Dagger is definitely going to give you a little bit more room on the inside and a little bit more room to sit up. But because of some of the complexity with these clips down here versus the simplicity of this clip here, This one's probably going to be a little bit heavier. Now I will say this, as I was taking the tarps off of both of these, it was easy in both cases. It was a quick clip here, so you just press the buttons inside and it pops free. And then it's this little hook that I showed here, and you just twist it and it pops right off. So super easy putting the tarps on and off either way. So both of those systems would be fine. I think if you wanted to go lighter, if you were really going to do this 2-person tent as a 1-person plus your gear tent, this Dragonfly would be a great option. If you're truly going to go 2 people, the Dagger is going to give you just a touch more room. Other than that, they're very, very comparable. A little bit smaller, a little more of this Dragonfly is mesh, so it's potentially going to breathe better. And a little more of this, the Dagger, it looks like the floor, the bathtub style floor goes up a little bit higher. And the tarp comes down a little bit lower, so you're probably going to get a little more weather protection on the Dagger. So they're both cool tents. They both are packed with really neat features. And I don't think you could go wrong with either. I think if you want just a touch more room, go with the Dagger. You want a touch more features, go with the Dagger. If simplicity and weight savings is higher on your priority list, then the Dragonfly is probably the one for you. So I like doing these comparison videos because a lot of times will wind up having buyer's remorse after I get something because I'm just not sure if it was the right thing or what I needed. So I hope this is helpful for you guys. I strongly endorse Nemo brand products. All the stuff that I've had that Nemo has made, from sleeping mats to tents and to other things, I really enjoy, and I appreciate the engineering that they put into this. Both of these tents are engineered very well, and I think they both will do a great job. Again, if you want a touch more coverage and a touch more space, the Dagger is the 2-person for you. And if weight savings is higher on your priority list, then obviously the Dragonfly will be a little bit lighter. Okay, friends. Thank you so much for watching. For more information on how you can support the channel, please check the description down below. And until next time, Ninja every day.